Good evening. We are wrapping up right now 24 hours of continuous special programming on Kerala. Of course, we're going to continue to focus around the clock on the problems of how we're going to get Kerala out of the current crisis, because though the waters may be receding in certain parts and the worst, hopefully, is behind us, there's a lot of work that is still going to be required to set Kerala back on its feet. But we have to also today acknowledge the heroic efforts that so many people have been doing, and watching TV programs such as this, the number of people all across the country who've come together, united as a nation, and said we're going to try and do something to help our fellow countrymen in Kerala. That, I think, is something which we must recognize, we must acknowledge, and we will be doing that during the course of this evening. A range of special guests are going to be joining us for the next hour, where we are essentially going to try and ask one question. What is it that each of us can still do to help? Whether we are governments, whether we are corporates, private individuals, what can still be done? And how can we get Kerala back on its feet as soon as we possibly can? Also perhaps becomes a template for what should be done in the future. Because unfortunately, this may not be the final disaster or which is going to happen, or a natural calamity, but we should have a template in place on how to respond really fast. It's happened to some extent in some areas in Kerala. Let's learn those lessons today. And joining us to talk about that, as always, whenever there's a disaster, whenever there's a crisis, it's the armed forces which are invariably the first there on the ground and doing an absolute sterling service. So I don't want to put my hands together, and we've got the PRO and the spokesperson of all three branches, Captain D.K. Sharma is with us, spokesperson and PRO of the Navy. Wing Commander Anupam Banerjee is the PRO and the spokesperson of the Indian Air Force. And Colonel Aman Anand is the spokesperson of the Army. Thank you, all three of you, for being with us, and many compliments on the sterling effort you've been doing. We're going to come to you and ask you what help you may require and what still needs to be done. I'd also like to acknowledge on the show Anshu Gupta, founder and director of Gunj, and Purnima Indran, volunteer for Modu Kochi, two NGOs who've done a lot of work there. We'll be going across to them in just a couple of minutes. Brinda Karath is joining us, a particular member of the CPM. It is, of course, a CPM government there in Kerala, so it'd be great to get her views. And Resul Pukutti, an example of how somebody from the film world can really use the power of his influence and his contacts to really push through change. And Resul was able to do that in a spectacular fashion right now. And I'd like to acknowledge some of the reporters who've been there on the field, who've really worked in galvanizing public opinion, and that has really helped in getting a lot done. So Sneha has done a sterling job for weeks, really, ever since it started, for a week, to try and bring attention. There's Sam Daniel with us as well, as is Maya. Actually, why don't I just come across first, before I come to any of you, let's just try and come up to date with the very latest on the situation out here, and also this pan-India rescue, help, relief operation that now seems to be underway. Let's take a look at that.
We deposit into the accounts.
It's the turn of Kashmir to lend a helping hand.
I woke up in the morning and I thought to myself that I need to do something about it.
Ma'am, you're getting very emotional. Tell us why. I mean, काफी लोग हैं वहाँ पे who are now homeless.
So as we've been telling you for 24 hours, it's a nationwide effort now to try and help Kerala get back on its feet as soon as possible. Sneha, Sam, Maya, let me just come to each of you in turn. And Sneha, you perhaps one of the first people who've been reporting from the ground. We're going to come to you in a couple of minutes. But Sam, if you can tell us the latest at the grassroots level, at the ground out there, are things getting any better? And what, according to you, is the real, what is really required at the grassroots level there?
Vikram, we come to you from the Little Flower Convent at Olari in Thrissur district of Kerala, and here over the last 36 hours there's been no rainfall. To that extent it's a huge relief, and this area has a unique problem because many of these areas are still inundated. People have to wade through knee-deep waters, and there is also small island nearby where people say because of the stagnation of water for a long time, many houses have become weak, some structures have collapsed, and that's the big worry for them. When they get back home, will they have a safe house to be back? Secondly, several thousand people have lost their lifelong belongings. This morning we visited a family's house a week after their floods, and they had lost their entire lifelong belongings, lifelong savings, as water had entered their home 5 days ago. It raised up to 10 foot high, and now they've lost everything, and they say they have to rebuild their lives. And all these losses may not be documented because in many cases the houses may remain intact, but all the properties inside may be completely ruined. Not everybody insures their properties, and for them to buy, most of them middle classes, poor people, laborers, fishermen, for them to buy all these items again, a refrigerator, the stoves, the utensils, that they say is something unimaginable. And let's speak to some people here to understand, to get a sense of what their requirements are. Reem, thank you so much. From your perspective, what are the things you require? How are things now?
Hello. See, I am staying near near 1 kilometer away from here. In my house nearly knee-deep water is there. And I can't stay there. I am not suffering much. I can't stay there, that's all. But here almost 99% people lost their house, and nearly water has raised up to their neck height.
When you say lost their houses, you mean they lost their belongings, property?
Belongings, mostly belongings. And certain people had lost their house, one portion has collapsed, and belongings. So, in Kerala is actually under a blanket of water. Under a blanket of water, this is the first time in this century.
The government has allotted 500 crore rupees. Do you think that will help you to somehow rebuild your life?
Never. 500 rupees is not even sufficient to build a bridge.
Right. Let's also speak to a couple of other people. In your view, what do you think are the major needs and requirements?
Now here we are sitting in Little Flower Convent School. Here the 305 and above poor peoples are staying here. Here maximum they are covered, food and first aid, everything we are covered here. Now we are in safe condition. Situation after only we know.
In terms of rehabilitation to help them restart their lives, what do you think they would require now?
Nobody rain.
We expect no need rain.
At the moment.
At the moment.
Okay. So at the moment they say they don't know, in this area at least, Vikram, they don't know what the condition of their homes are. But going by what we saw this morning, they anticipate the worst, and the big question is who would help them to rebuild their lives in terms of homes, in terms of their lifelong belongings. And what
എന്താ പറയണവരെന്ന് ചോദിക്കണേ ഞങ്ങളുടെ ഇവിടെ 100-300 അംഗങ്ങളിവിടെ താമസിക്കുന്നുണ്ട്. അതില് കുട്ടികള്, സ്ത്രീകള്, പിന്നെ പുരുഷന്മാര്, നല്ല രീതിയിൽ നമ്മളിവിടെ കാര്യങ്ങളെല്ലാം ചെയ്തു കൊടുക്കുന്നുണ്ട്. ഭക്ഷണം കാര്യങ്ങളൊന്നും വലിയ പ്രശ്നമൊന്നുമില്ല.
Sam, let me quickly go across to Sneha now. Okay, Sam, I'm going to interrupt you for a minute. I just want to quickly go across to Sneha because it's the signal and connectivity is really poor out there. I have Sneha momentarily. So Sneha, you're one of the first people out there who's been really reporting all through the floods and the rainfall. What's the situation now, Sneha, where you are?
Vikram, actually this goes back even before 1 week. This has been happening in 3 different phases in Kerala, one after the other. But let me first talk to really the locals out here. I'm coming to you from Kuttanad in Alappuzha. And this place is known for inundation, for flooding. But people are saying they've never seen something like this. Ningal Kuttanad lana, bear with me, most of the people speak here Malayalam. Ningal Kuttanad lana, ഇങ്ങനത്തെ ഒരു വെള്ളപ്പൊക്കം നിങ്ങൾ ഇതിന്റെ മുമ്പേ കണ്ടിട്ടുണ്ട്?
മുമ്പ് കണ്ടിട്ടില്ല. പ്രായമുള്ളവർ പറയുന്നത് പണ്ട് 99 ഒരു വെള്ളപ്പൊക്കം വന്നിട്ടുണ്ടെന്ന് പറഞ്ഞു. പക്ഷെ ഇത്തരത്തിൽ ആയി ഒരു വളരെ ദുരന്തങ്ങൾ അനുഭവിക്കുന്ന ഒരു വെള്ളപ്പൊക്കം ഇതിന് മുന്നിൽ ഉണ്ടായിട്ടേ ഇല്ല.
They're saying they've seen floods, but this is nothing like they have seen ever before. Even people elder to her say that. നിങ്ങളുടെ വീടിന്റെ അവസ്ഥ എങ്ങനെയാണ്?
ഞങ്ങളുടെ വീട്ടിലെ സർവ്വ സാധനങ്ങളും വെള്ളത്തിനകത്ത് മുങ്ങി. എല്ലാ സാധനങ്ങളും കുത്തൊഴുകിൽ ഒഴുകിപ്പോയി.
Every single thing in their house has been washed away in the flood, in the water. നിങ്ങൾക്ക് ഇപ്പം ഉള്ള ആവശ്യം എന്തോ?
ഇപ്പം ഞങ്ങൾക്ക് വീട്ടിലോട്ട് ഞാൻ താമസിക്കണമെങ്കിൽ ഞാൻ വീടിന്റെ അവസ്ഥ കണ്ടാൽ ഞങ്ങൾ അറ്റാക്ക് വരാം. എന്ന് വെച്ചാൽ നമ്മുടെ സർവ്വതും നശിച്ചു. ഞങ്ങൾക്ക് പിന്നെ വെള്ളം പോലും ഇല്ലാത്തൊരവസ്ഥയാണ്. പാത്രങ്ങൾ പോലും ഇല്ല. ഒരു സാധനമില്ല. ഒന്നെന്നും പറഞ്ഞ് എല്ലാത്തിലും തുടങ്ങണം.
So she's saying if you come and see our house, if you go back, it's going to be literally like a heart attack because every single thing in that house is completely ruined. There is just nothing left. These are not just exceptions. Everybody is saying the same thing.
എന്തെങ്കിലും കുട്ടനാട്ടിലെ മൊത്തം ജനങ്ങൾക്കും എല്ലാവർക്കും ഉള്ളവനും ഇല്ലവനും കംപ്ലീറ്റ് നശിച്ചിരിക്കുകയാണ്. എന്ത് ആനുകൂല്യങ്ങൾ കുട്ടനാട്ടിലുള്ള ജനങ്ങൾക്ക് കൊടുക്കുന്നെങ്കിലും ഓരോ വീട്ടുകാർക്കും അവരുടെ കൈകളിൽ കൃത്യമായ രീതിയിൽ എത്തിച്ചേരേണ്ട രീതിയിൽ അവർക്ക് സഹായം എത്തിക്കണം. പല രീതിയിൽ കൊടുത്താൽ അവരുടെ കൈകളിൽ സഹായം എത്തിച്ചേരത്തില്ല. അങ്ങനെ അവർക്ക്
applause here because the important point which she is saying is everybody, irrespective of caste, religion, has lost every single thing. And if at all anything is being given to them in terms of relief, in terms of benefits, it has to reach every single person in the same equal manner.
I think that's a very good point, Sneha. Thanks for joining us with that. We'll come back to you in a short while. Again, I just want to I need to talk to the services and figure out what lessons they're getting. But before I go across to them, Maya, let me just come across to you because it's, of course, primarily been seen as a Kerala, calamity right now. But even in parts of Karnataka where you are right now, for example, there has been considerable devastation.
That is correct, Vikram. Yes, we're in Kodagu district, which borders Kerala and has faced the same rain problem. The problem in Kodagu has been exacerbated by landslides. There are at least 7 confirmed deaths here. Many more people still missing. They may have lost their lives in landslides, and the search and rescue rehabilitation is still going on. Before the rehabilitation, search and rescue still going on. 5,000 people displaced in shelters like this, and I must say that we've been to many shelters in Wayanad district in Kerala before this, and here in Kodagu district as well, in Madikeri, in Shuntikoppa, in Madapura. But this is probably the most basic. A little child here, a little baby here at this shelter. Kushal Nagar is on the banks of the river Kaveri, and the water from the river did in fact rise and overflow. So, आपका घर का क्या होगा?
हमारा घर पानी आके पानी में पूरा 3-4-7 अड़ी पानी आया. पानी आके पूरा घर गिर गया. पूरा
और यहाँ सब मिलकर फूड
नहीं, पूरा घर भी है. पूरा आदमी का घर भी है इधर. 11 घर है.
11
ಪೂರಾ ಎಲ್ಲ ಮೆಡಿಸಿನ್ ಊಟ ಇದೆಲ್ಲ ಕೊಡ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದಾರೆ. ಅದೇನು ತೊಂದರೆ.
So they're getting food, they're getting medicine. इसके बाद क्या चाहिए?
इसके लिए हमारे को घर चाहिए. घर चाहिए और कुछ हमको घर बनाने के देने से बस घर होना हमको मेन. अभी बच्चा लोग सो भी बाहर इधर सोने से कितना दिन तक इधर सोएगा. इसलिए हमको पहले घर होना. रहने के लिए घर होना.
So they're getting food, they're getting relief materials, but they want to know, they want a house later on. आपको क्या चाहिए?
हमें भी घर चाहिए. मेरा खास घर नहीं है, भाड़े का घर है और खाने पीने के लिए काम नहीं है. बहुत मुश्किल है, बहुत ही मुश्किल है. खाने पीने के लिए कुछ भी नहीं है, इसलिए इधर है. घर में सब पानी घुसाता.
बच्चे का नाम क्या है?
मोहम्मद जैद.
कितने साल?
1 साल 4 महीने.
1 साल 4 महीने. So, people here wanting a home. They've come away. Their homes have been flooded. They've come away to this place, which is really, really very basic. They're getting food. They're safe and dry, but they want a home. They actually want a home to stay. आपको क्या चाहिए?
हमारा घर पूरा पानी आके चले गया है. हम ना घर चाहिए. हम ना छोटे छोटे बच्चे हैं. इधर का हम ना घर बहुत ऐसे चाहिए. हमें कितने दिन इधर बैठने होता है. हमना नहीं होता. हमना घर होना है.
So people here at this shelter, this very, very basic shelter in the government middle school in Kushal Nagar in Kodagu, wanting a home, wanting to know where they go from here. They're receiving medical attention and food, but where do they go from here? They want a home.
All right, Maya. So, we are getting a clear sense of what the situation on the ground is. Thank you so much. Thank you, Sneha. Thank you, Sam, for being with us as well. If we get time, we'll try and come back to you a little later in the program. And I just want to welcome, once again, Colonel Aman Anand, who's the spokesperson and the PRO of the Army, Captain D.K. Sharma is the spokesperson of the Navy, and Wing Commander Anupam Banerjee, who's the spokesperson of the Indian Air Force. And once again, hats off to you, all of you, for the absolute sterling job that is being done. I think all of us would just like to hear from you and understand from you. What do you make of the situation on the ground right now? And maybe each of you can tell us in turn. In a sense, it's seeming that the work that the rescue part is now starting to, people's lives may not necessarily be in danger unless it starts to rain again. Would that be a fair way to say? So it's more about rehabilitation now?
No, I don't think so, Vikram. It's still
too early to say that.
It's still too early. Particularly in the North Kerala, 4 districts, they are a little better off. The water has started receding. That's it. But there are places like Chendamangalam, Chengalur, which are still badly affected. In fact, today evening I got a report from the ground that even army columns, the forward columns, the troops have reached the stranded old couple today, and they were evacuated. See, there are old and aged people who are sick, who are not able to move. They have been stranded for last 4-5 days. They didn't move out, so they could not be evacuated by any other means. So there the troops are now going out and getting them. Similarly, the second issue has been the hospitals. You may not be aware, 2 hospitals had to be evacuated, 300 from one hospital, Muthoot hospital. So that was one of the challenges. Third issue that is coming up is the soldiers themselves, who are in the waters for so many days now. Since 9th August we are into it. These soldiers, over the whole day, from morning 6 o'clock till night, they are into the water. The situation like fever, the injuries have started happening. Foot rot had been reported among the soldiers now. So these are
because they've been in water for such a long
time. Yes. So these are the things. And medically, I think health and hygiene is an important issue which is coming up now. A lot of people have not taken care of their health and hygiene, so that will be an issue. Infection is going to spread, so medical teams are also facing this issue.
Right, Captain Sharma, from a Navy point of view, what according to you is your main priority right now?
Okay, Vikram, I agree with him, but let's accept the fact that the worst is behind us. It is absolutely behind us. And now we are going
unless of course it starts to really rain again, which we hope will not happen.
No, we are not. The prognosis says that next 5 days is going to be dry, and that is why the focus has shifted. Like today evening, our Dornier has landed in Kannur. Now from where the water is being supplied, you see, because of the flooding, a lot of flotsam has come, and all the inlets and outlets of the dams which used to give the water to the reservoir and then the filtration takes place, now they are all choked. So our teams are now being sent there one by one, so that all the districts start.
These are what naval diving teams that you are
These
sending?
are our divers, and they have gone there now. The diving is in progress as we speak. So they will now clear the inlets and outlets so that the water can now start moving, and then only the process of filtration and all will start. Also our technicians now the task is shifting from actual rescue to relief, which means our technicians, they have now they are panning out wherever they can help out in sorting out the electricity connections or the machinery. Like in Amrita Institute, our people went over there and sorted their RO plants so that the fresh water supply remains. Then we are coming to,
and it's important to note that getting things like fresh water to work again and making sure people get fresh water is important, because that staves off disease which sometimes follows.
And Vikram, we have not spoken about bringing back Cochin on the air map. It was a humongous task by everybody involved over there, whether it is the Airports Authority of India, whether it is the State Municipal Corporation. You see that there is a glide path from where the aircraft come. So that is, we have not been operating the flights so often from there because of the Cochin International Airport. But now it has been made operational. We have also put out some kind of security, a foolproof security which ensures that nothing goes wrong over there. So all this is happening, and we are forgetting about the medical teams. The focus is now shifting to the doctors, the paramedics, the medicines and our facilities. So everything is standby, and yes, we have reduced our teams from 100 to 50 and are moving to the...
In fact, I'm going to just come to that in a second as to which way the teams are also going to move. But let me just come to the Air Force as well. So we've been seeing, sometimes the helicopters is not very clear as to which services helicopters they are, but we've been seeing these dramatic pictures of rescue, as people are winched up. Is that still happening, and there's still a lot of stranded people to your mind, or have most of them by now been evacuated and taken to a metro?
As Captain Sharma put it, that we have moved on clearly from rescue phase to relief phase, and that has reduced, that winching. But while the rescue phase was on, very quietly the Indian Air Force transport aircraft were building up for this time. There are more than 90 sorties which have flown in till now. A large number of relief materials have been positioned in places like Trivandrum, Calicut and all, close to 500 tons. Now, as we speak, the medical team serving moved in. So the transport fleet of aircraft was quietly building up, and the helicopter fleet, which has clearly moved on from the relief to rescue, is now taking these supplies to various places. For example,
and the coming back on 9 of the Kochi airport would presumably be a help, because is that where Air Force planes can also land?
For us, Trivandrum was always available. Calicut was available. We also have a Sulur, which is Sulur base, which is in Tamil Nadu, but it's very close to Kerala. And in between the Palakkad air base, there was a small helipad, which was also being activated. So right now, the focus is on to relief, and here the rotary wing aircraft, there's a helicopter of all the services which are there, will make a very important role, because even if the water recedes, the road connectivity is going to be an issue. So there are these places where the relief camps have been set up, where the helicopters can land close by. They are getting stocked up by all this material which is coming by the transport aircraft, and they are being dropped to places where people are still marooned. They don't want to leave their houses, but they want to continue there. So they require this food and water supply, medicine. So they are being dropped. So there is a multiple approach, and all this is being coordinated by the task force which is there under the guidance of Southern Air Command, who is in touch with the Chief Minister, AOCNC, and this guidance is flowing from there. And wherever the requirement is maximum, the air effort is going there.
Are you also, the Army is really good at sometimes repairing bridges and restoring connectivity and getting that happen. Is that a priority area, or will you wait for the waters to recede a bit more for that?
Absolutely, Vikram, good question. In fact, it gets connected to the statement that made by the Air Force PRO. About 50% of people on ground, about 70 teams, 1,500 souls, Army people are still on the ground. Half of them are doing connectivity. People have to get back to safety and to relief. We have made almost 70 bridges, 50 locations have been connected.
We're actually seeing pictures of that as you're speaking.
Yes, and 12,000 people have been evacuated through these routes. So engineer task force, we call them engineer task force, they're really doing a Herculean task. They have been got from Jabalpur, as far places as Jabalpur, Jodhpur, Pune, these engineers, and they are working now in the remotest of the areas. Yes, it is one of the biggest efforts.
You said that some of the teams in some areas are being scaled back. What's the reason for that? It's because they're not required, or because then supplying them also becomes the challenge?
As per the human psyche, now the water is receding. Everybody wants to go back to their houses and have a look, first-hand look.
Yeah.
So now when the helicopters during the day, nobody wants to get winched up. Yeah. They want the relief to come. And you see, rightfully so, nobody would like to leave his place. So that is why and our relief camps, where they were for the last 2-3 nights, it's absolutely, people want to go back, because that is their...
So they don't necessarily, you're not in that situation where you're having all these dramatic pictures we've been seeing of people being winched up.
It's
required earlier, it's not
now
required right now. Right, if I could just ask you three gentlemen, just stay on with us. Purnima Indran is with us, volunteer at Umbudu Kochi. Anshu Gupta, founder director, Gunj, with us as well. In just a couple of minutes, I'm going to go across to Brinda Karat and Resul Pukuti, to get their views on what is happening and what is required. Anshu Gupta, I just wanted to ask you, we do have, the PROs of the Army, Navy and the Air Force with us. What, if there's anything, message that you'd like to communicate to them based on whatever you're hearing from the ground, this would be the best time to do it. Then, we can pass on that message.
So I believe it's one of the most commendable operation out here, whatever we know from the field and whatever we see, not only through the images on the TV, but also in the real life. Yes, a lot more to be done, and this is a time when, as the commander also, as the officer also said, that people are desperate to go back, and the relief camps will be over even if the government says that these are on, but people do want to go back as early as possible. So I think for all of us, for every single person who is working on it inside Kerala or outside Kerala, this is going to be the toughest period where people are going to their houses, whatever is left over in the house, and you need to convert it to a home. This is absolutely true that not even a single thing is actually left in whole lot of houses now. So I believe that after the very active rescue operation in most of the places, some places it is still needed. Now this is a time of rebuilding the entire thing, and right from even a kg of rice to whatever, every single thing is extremely important till the time people come back to their normal economic activities. I mean that's the most important part in any big disaster, the way it is happening here. And this is a little bit role. This is what we play. And we also, move in after a few days of this.
Right. Anshu, and anything which you would like to tell the services from your point of view that you think that they could help in, or for that matter, people watching this program, anything that they could help in?
So services can certainly now, because they have another task, because even most of the temporary bridges and everything will be actually done by the services. Many people get into that because civilians have limited capacities as of now. I believe the transportation is still a very big challenge. Not only bringing material to Kerala, but within Kerala. So that is where if we get more support from the services, it will be really nice. And the Aam Janta, the common people like us, we need to understand that disaster is not over. This is just the first phase of disaster which is over. Now these thousands and lakhs of people have to rebuild their lives. And if you see people within Kerala, there are a lot of them, and large number of them are absolutely exhausted physically, emotionally, financially. This is a time when people outside Kerala, the way they have been supporting the entire campaign of so many institutions, army, government and all, they really need to give it back. They really need to give a new push to the entire campaign for many days now.
All right, so a lot more still needs to be done. Purnima, let me get you in on that. Your thoughts on what you think is required right now?
Just rightly, as it was said before, the rehabilitation process is what we are looking at, because for the gravity or the magnitude that we have faced right now, it was so unexpected, and it was very fast. Now, getting back to normal life is going to be a big question. There's so much of uncertainty in everyone's heart, and I really don't know how we are going to cope up with tomorrow, because when I say that, I have to also say that all of us, especially all of them who are affected and not affected, have shown the resilience, and we have tried to hold ourselves up and overcome this. But we should not forget, or it does not say that the gravity of what we are going through right now is actually huge. Getting back to normal life is going to be a big question, which I guess all of us are going to face, regardless of the factor that who's rich or who's poor, what is the demand or where you're from. It's just going to be a big question. The uncertainty is the main thing, which is actually there back of everyone's mind.
All right, those are, I think, interesting thoughts. Rehabilitation. If I could just ask each of you also to tell us as final thoughts. I have to say, as the pictures have kept on coming out of Kerala, there's been a mounting nationwide expression of concern. We were just showing you those pictures a little earlier from Kashmir, which also went through floods a few years back, to other parts of the country. Literally from Kashmir to Kanyakumari, the whole nation has said, let's try and do whatever we can to try and help at this point. What, to your mind, would be some things obviously only the services and the government can do, like restoring connectivity? What is it that the rest of us can do to help?
All right, I'll give you one input from the ground. I think medicines is what are required there now.
Medicines?
Yes. That is the report I got in the evening from the medicos there. Medicines are the requirement right now. If we can all chip in some medicines, I think that will be good.
Okay, medicines. So anybody watching this, medicines is something that's still required. May help if you can get that organized and send. I'll just come to Anshu and to Purnima to ask whether they're feeling that same way. But let me get your take as well. What do you
My
think? people
take is that all of us have to stand as one. And
which fortunately to some extent is happening, you know.
we have to.
But,
You know, it's a
but
natural.
specifically,
it's a
practically,
calamity
what can be done?
of.
Cash donations, clothing donations, food.
No,
to
Vikram,
be
there is
sent,
no
medicine.
dearth of all these things in our country. The only thing is, if we stand as one, there is no force which can, deter us from achieving our objective.
All right, sir. What do you think specifically is required on the ground?
In such a scale of disaster, it takes time to get back to normalcy, and it is very important to keep faith in the system, which so far has been working very nicely. And slowly but steadily, I pray and hope that Kerala gets back to normalcy. But it will take time, and there are forces available. All other agencies are there, so I'm sure it will help Kerala to get back to normalcy.
Right. You have one last quick thing to say?
Yes, I would like to highlight the effort of the Defence Security Corps in the northern Kerala. These are the people actually who are in their second inning. These are the retired army people who then go into the second inning into the Defence Security Corps. And about 200 of them were deployed. The best part that I would like to highlight here about is that they were ready because they were foots on the ground already, and they were judging the situation even before 9th of August when the army was requisitioned, and therefore they were ready. They
were providing that first piece of help which is required.
And such was the effort, so motivating was the effort that immediately the other agencies and the local population also joined in, and through innovative means they were able to restore a lot of connectivity.
Right, well I'd like to thank all three of you for joining us. Anshu and Purnima, Anshu, just very quickly, people watching this saying, we'd like to help. What's the one thing that you think you could use right now to bring immediate relief?
Right now, I think ultimately we need to clean it up. Fine. So a lot of cleaning stuff with a very simple focus in mind that not a lot of small plastic bottles should enter in this state now, because this is a beautiful state and already a lot of kachra happening because of the rubble which is coming out. Don't send those plastic bottles. But yes, a lot of cleaning thing, and also this is a time when maybe in the next 2-3 days we will also make an appeal. People from outside Kerala need to come and volunteer, so that even the cleaning operations is done by hundreds and hundreds of all of us put together, and so that we also support people in that handling the trauma while doing it.
All right, that's valuable insight. Purnima, anything specific that you think you'd like to appeal right now for people watching this? Something specific that you need?
I would definitely want to tell you that this is something which Kerala has not seen in the past 100 years. Over 7.5 lakh people have been completely displaced. They don't have roofs. More than 5,000 relief camps at this point of time in Kerala. Having said that, let me just tell you, it's commendable support from NDRF, the Navy, and definitely Coast Guard. The defense has been so supportive, and they have been just on their toes round the clock to help us overcome this along with common citizens. It's commendable support. But let us not forget that eventually when we want to come back to real life, what emotionally it feels great that we have all been together, like rightly as Sir said, we need to be one. But on practical grounds, this has to happen, and we need monetary support for that. When I say monetary support, this present situation not being declared as a national disaster is a huge, it's actually very depressing. It's creating more and more doubts in our mind whether tomorrow is promised, whether we are safe here. Are we going to be supported by the government? Like you rightly said, let's be one. But are we one? Will you support us here? Will there be certainty in our life? This is just an individual question that's there in my mind. But I've been seeing a lot of people walking in, day out, and I can tell you, I can vouch that there is uncertainty in everything, regardless of the factor, whether who we are from or where we are, be it on medical backdrops, or be it on hygiene backdrops, or be it on a promising tomorrow. There's uncertainty, and how are we going to face this is the biggest question which is running in this point, all our minds.
All right, Purnima, Anshu, thank you so much for joining us. I'd like to thank the three of you for joining us as well. As I slip into a little break, on the other side of the break, I'd like to speak to Brinda Karat in some detail and Resul Pukuti and try and hear from them what they think really needs to be done now to try and set Kerala back on its feet. That's when we come back after this break. So I'm just about to go across to a special interview with Brinda Karat, the CPM Politburo member. But before I do that, with the spokesperson of the Army, Navy and the Air Force right here in the studio, I want to play for you some really special images that have come up reflecting from the people of Kerala, and that I think reflects what the nation also feels. There they are spelling out thanks for you on that particular rooftop. So they are grateful, as are we. So thank you all so much for all that you do, always in times of war, peace, and every time there's a disaster, for the efforts that you put in. So thank you so much from all of us.
Thank you.
All right, let me move from that to Brinda Karat. Of course, this is a CPM government there in Kerala. So Brinda Karat, just wanted to ask you, as per your understanding, how bad is the situation still, and what can all of us do to help?
Well, of course, it is very, very serious, but I think the first phase, as the Chief Minister described in his press conference yesterday, was emergency measures for rescue of thousands of people who could not be reached. So, and that was also during a period when the very heavy rain was continuing, and therefore more and more areas which had not been affected in the very first few days of the floods taking place, they got affected. But till today, even now today, there are still almost 10 lakh people in the relief camps. So the situation is still very, very serious, critical.
Right, but you know, a lot of people, it's still serious, it's still critical, but as we move towards relief and rehabilitation, we're getting a number of people who are, of course, writing in, wanting to know what they can help. What advice would you give them? Somebody watching this program saying, I would like to help Kerala. What should they do? Send in money, send in time, send in effort, go there and volunteer. What would you recommend that they do?
Well, as far as the Kerala government is concerned, and we have also strongly supported that we are saying all funds should go directly to the Chief Minister's Distress Relief Fund, because we believe that is only a centralization of that fund which can actually reach all the people who need it. That, along with that, individual efforts, all social organizations are also working on the ground. So if materials are to be sent, or if people have families there who they know will be able to help in the distribution of materials, that is also fine. But as far as funds and money is concerned, I think people would be very well advised to send it to the Kerala Chief Minister's Fund, because that is a fund which is accountable and transparent, and they have to, and they can make sure that the people know how their hard-earned money is being spent. And I would like to add, Vikram, you're so right, because the tremendous response of people to the suffering of the people of Kerala from outside Kerala has really been extraordinary. And we ourselves, just yesterday in Andhra Pradesh, our people just went out on a one-day fund collection, and from very poor people with, just box collections. And they collected 40 lakh rupees in just one day for the Kerala Chief Minister's Fund. And so many doctors have come forward to volunteer their services for the next 2 weeks, some for 10 days, some for 3 weeks. So we are going to direct all that through the government, because they would know best where the doctors are required.
Right, I mean that's good to hear, and it's also important to take positive lessons from what's happening out here. Maybe it can be applied elsewhere. One other area, would you say that the central, I mean obviously there's political rivalry out here, but would you say that the central government and the state government have been able to work very effectively together out here, together of course with the defense forces we were hearing, to try and bring matters back to normal? Would you say that that's good coordination happening?
Well, what our Chief Minister said, because the entire effort has been coordinated by the state government, and what our Chief Minister said yesterday, I think reflects what most people in Kerala believe, that under the leadership of the state government, what they have asked the central government in terms of personnel and infrastructure to help in the rescue missions, that the state government has thanked the central government for whatever they have done on the request of the state government. So that has gone quite well. Especially the defense teams, the rescue missions from the Navy, from the Air Force, and from the Army, they have done an absolutely wonderful job to supplement what the state government is doing. And that has been possible primarily because of the close coordination between the state government and the central agencies. So that is one aspect. As far as the financial, sorry Vikram?
No, I was just about to try and say that, in a sense it's good. It could be one of the positive lessons that we are trying to derive from this, that we should try and find ways in situations like this, keep the politics out of it. And it'll be great if the central government and the state government can work together to bring relief to people in times of trouble. Would you say that's happening?
I think it's really too soon to comment, because the state government had asked for an immediate relief of 2,000 crore rupees as an immediate relief. So far the central government has given 100 crores when Sri Rajnath Singh ji had gone, and another 500 crores when the Prime Minister had gone. So these are just the early, I think, installments which have come. But certainly it is going to require huge funds from the central government. I think tomorrow an all-party meeting is being held by the Chief Minister in Kerala to be able to report to all the political parties in Kerala what the assessment of the state government in terms of the damages is concerned. So I think they will be taking it up with the central government. So yes, I do agree with you, Vikram. There are lessons to be learnt in this. There are those who believe in the Hindu faith, there are those who believe in Islam, there are those who are Christians, of all communities. And I think this is a heroic job which has been done by the people of Kerala together. And it is in this context, Vikram, that I am appalled and deeply shocked and saddened that on the whole of social media, the RSS and the Sangh Parivar people, they are running a vicious campaign asking people not to donate to the Chief Minister's fund. I have seen posts saying, don't donate because this is going to go to the minority communities. What kind of thinking is this? I've just heard some audios with some Seva Bharati people who are saying, we are the only people who are working. And it's not just lower ranking people who are saying this. This gentleman who was just appointed to the Reserve Bank of India, a board member, because of his close connections with the Sangh Parivar, he has given a tweet saying that this is God's wrath on Kerala because they are fighting the Sabrimala case. What is this? I mean, at a time of suffering, you don't have this much humanity, that you are now trying to divide people in the name of this and that, God and religion and all this. I mean, we are not going to that low level of politics.
Right. Brinda Khara, thank you so much for joining us. And let's hope that the dominant reaction, which I think most people have had, which is to get together and to go out there and to help people and to try and aid in rescue, let's hope that really is what continues to gather momentum, and that Kerala can be put back on its feet as soon as is possible. Well, just want to go across to another special guest, Resul Pukuti, now with us. Resul, you one of the people who really stepped out, reached out to a number of your friends and associates, and you have plenty of very close friends, and you were one of the first to say, let's start focusing attention. This is worse than it is looking. People are not recognizing just how bad it is in Kerala. Something needs to be done. What, to your mind, Resul, is really required right now?
Right now, see, the water started receding. First phase of the rescue operation is over. Now this time is very critical. Now this is the time when people are going back to their homes. They will go and find out things that are not in order. The houses are not clean. It will be at least 2 to 3 feet of mud, and a whole lot of cleaning is required. Drinking water, pure drinking water is required. This is the time of epidemic, beginning to start spreading. So a lot more focus on first phase of rehabilitation actually starts now. And roads are down, bridges are down. What I was given to believe from the CM's office that more than 500,000 kilometers of roads are down. So this is a massive scale disaster.
Well, Rizal, after hearing appeals from you and from others like you and seeing some of the programming that's being done on TV, seeing placards like this, a lot of people are coming forward to say, let's do whatever we can to help, whether it's by sending money, whether it's by sending clothes or blankets or medicine or food, water. If somebody wants to help, what would you tell them? How do you think they can help best?
Yes, definitely we want food, we want dry clothes, we want cleaning materials, we want detergents, we want machineries that can purify water without any electricity, and clothes is immediate necessity. For women, of course, sanitary napkins and all sort of things. My point is, when a disaster of this scale is struck, anything that we can do is matters. Money, however smaller the amount is, it matters, because we need to start building people's life. Close to 7.5 lakh people are on the road, and 2.5 lakh people have lost their homes. The schools, shops, it's a massive scale of work that is in front of us to rebuild all these people's lives, to bring them back to life, normal life. It will take a long time. It's not an easy process, but anything that you can do, please go ahead and do it.
What's your assessment of the sort of response that is maybe slightly belated in some areas, but by and large the response from people across the country right now? How would you rate that? How would you recognize that? How do you think is enough help coming into Kerala right now?
I think it is fantastic, because initially it took a little time to understand the scale of disaster, how it is, what it is. People thought it just some rain. Kerala anyway gets a whole lot of rain than the rest of the country, and we have like 3 months of monsoon, non-stop monsoon. People who were in Bombay had a little bit of idea about, because we are used to kind of deluge that we face it in Bombay. Monsoon Bombay, we are like train stops 1 day or 2 days, then we know, okay, the rains are at the peak and it's going to wane out. That's actually what happened in Kerala as well. People thought, it's not going to go further, so they stayed in their homes. But as and when people once start spreading the word around, when they came to know, the helping hand started pouring in. Everyone started pitching in from their pockets and neighbors' pockets and everything. I can't even imagine the kind of help that is coming in from people from various quarters, various scales, money, food, clothing. I think the response is tremendous, especially in the last 3 days. It's been very, very overwhelming, and it makes me feel that incredible India is not just a tourism tagline. It is actually the true spirit of India. That's what I feel. That I feel currently, and I'm very, very overwhelmed at the response of the people.
And I think it's picked up in the last 2 or 3 days as more and more the media has also started to focus on just what's happening. I know that many were somewhat upset that large sections of the media weren't really paying too much attention to what was happening in Kerala. But as that has started to pick up, I think that's also why some of the responses become more. How do you rate the way the media has paid this?
That to some extent it is true, but I don't blame them. It is far away in down south. Anything that is away from Delhi, it'll take a little time for them to sort of find out and figure out. Also, our former Prime Minister's untimely demise also caused media to their attention away from this whole calamity. I think everybody has now got a sense, and things are coming in. Also, American TV and other foreign television channels have been beaming. You guys have been in the forefront of this crisis, and I'm thankful to you guys taking, especially NDTV, for taking it further down to the people. But now all that attention that was required is there. Right now, I just heard that central government has declared it as a national calamity and asked the MPs to contribute, and whatever that each states can do. Very, very heart-wrenching stories are coming in. Andhra Pradesh employees have contributed to almost like 20 crore of their pension fund into the disaster management. It's like it's really, really moving thing happening from coming across India.
Right, Rachel, thank you for joining us. And yes, of course, there are so many heartwarming stories of how people have really come out to help. And perhaps we should end with that. Yes, the Army, the Air Force, the Navy have done a sterling job. The governments, central and state, are doing whatever they can to help. People from all over the country have tried to help out. But we do want to leave you with some of the real heroes of the last week or 10 days. Some of the people there on the ground who came out and helped, and especially the fishermen, the fisher folks of Kerala, who have really made a mark for themselves in the way they were able to help so many people. So we're leaving you with this special message and tribute to them.
ഞങ്ങൾ ആരും വിളിച്ചിട്ടല്ല വന്നത്. ഞങ്ങൾ ടി വി വാർത്ത എന്ന് പറഞ്ഞാൽ ഞങ്ങൾ വള്ളവും മഞ്ചുമായിട്ട് ഇങ്ങനെ പോരുന്നത്. ജീവൻ രക്ഷപ്പെടുത്തണ്ട നമുക്ക്. 14,000 ആൾ ഞങ്ങൾ രക്ഷപ്പെടുത്തി. 14,000 ആൾ ഈ വള്ളത്തെ കൊണ്ട് രക്ഷപ്പെടുത്തി.
ഇവിടെ ഏകദേശം മത്സ്യത്തൊഴിലാളികൾ പല മേഖലകളിൽ നിന്ന് വന്നുകൊണ്ട് എത്ര ആൾക്കാരുണ്ടെന്ന് ഞങ്ങൾക്ക് തന്നെ അറിയത്തില്ല. എന്നാൽ ഇവിടെ ഈ റെസ്ക്യൂ ചെയ്തതെല്ലാം നല്ല ശതമാനവും മത്സ്യത്തൊഴിലാളികളുടെ പങ്കുണ്ട്. അത്
പണിക്ക് പോയിരുന്നെങ്കിൽ നമുക്ക് 10-15 രൂപ 20 രൂപ പണിയെടുക്കാമായിരുന്നു. അത് നമ്മൾ നോക്കിയില്ല. നമ്മുടെ സഹോദരങ്ങൾ അകപ്പെട്ട് കിടക്കുന്നതാണെങ്കിൽ നമ്മൾ രക്ഷിക്കാനായിട്ട് വന്നു. അത്രേ ഉള്ളൂ. നമ്മുടെ അത് മാത്രം മതി നമുക്ക് സന്തോഷം. ഒന്നും കിട്ടിയില്ലെങ്കിലും കുഴപ്പമില്ല, സന്തോഷമാണ്.
you.